In order for you to improve in any aspect of life, in order for you to become more successful in any aspect in life, in order for you to be happier and healthier, this is the place to be. Hey there, wellness friends. Thank you so much for joining. If you are new to the channel, if you're new to my podcast, my name is Stuart. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner and I am a mindset coach. I love to investigate where discipline, where structure, and where willpower comes from when we're talking about our cognition. So cognitive behavior, our cognitive patterns, that's exactly where my passion lies, exactly where my knowledge actually is focused on, and what I would like to share with you guys, because to me personally, this is such an important thing. I believe this should be taught in schools, but it isn't. So we need to develop these skill sets ourselves during our life, and I would love to help as many people as possible to achieve this. As a matter of fact, my mission statement is to help 1 million people create a healthier, happier life, and that will be measured through my webinars and seminars. So not just my followers, but people I actually have met. So let's call them my coaching clients. If you are not new, thank you for being here again. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that this is going to be another amazing episode, or for my YouTube channel, or for my podcast. My podcast is on Spotify, the Setting of Your Mind podcast. That is how I would like to push out all my knowledge for free, not just YouTube, not just the podcast on Spotify, but also through my social media. Coach Stuart Joosten, that is my full name. It's a Dutch name, so I understand if you butcher it, but I'll make sure it's somewhere in the description as well, and that has links to everything. Before we kick off this 6th episode of my podcast about cognitive patterns, we are going to make sure that all of you have seen the homework. Every podcast episode, every YouTube video, every social media post I post contains homework. That's the way I try to create the most value for you guys. So I can't guarantee much, but what I do guarantee is that if you follow every single homework assignment, your mindset and therefore your life will change. All the exercises, all the assignments are all aimed at your mindset, creating understanding in what it is right now and how to improve it. Think about the name of the podcast, the Setting of Your Mind podcast. Your mindset is something very interesting, but it's not fixed. It's not something that is concrete. It's flexible, it's fluid, it's something you can change. Through neuroplasticity, we can actually physically change the structure of our brain, and by habitual patterns in our thinking, in our cognition, that is how we can adjust the conscious and the subconscious patterns, which create our results and therefore create our lifestyles, and our lifestyles create our lives. So in order for you to improve in any aspect of life, in order for you to become more successful in any aspect in life, in order for you to be happier and healthier, this is the place to be. If you know anybody that could benefit from all this information, please take 5 or 10 seconds out of your own day. Do me a big favor and that person, and share this video, share my podcast, share my social media with them, please. There's a lot of value I push out for free, and all I want is to create an as big as possible audience to make sure that we understand we are in control of our results. All right, today episode number 6, cognitive patterns. What is it? Where do they come from? How can I recognize my own? And the most important, how can I change it? And how does that affect my life? Let's dig in, guys. Let's start with something that is called cognitive distortions. Simple question. Have you ever heard yourself saying to yourself, or have you ever thought, I'm not good enough? I'm incapable of doing this. I always mess things up. These are called cognitive distortions because these are thoughts or inner self-talk sentences that are simply not true. But because we have repeated it to ourselves so many times, we take this as a truth. Do you recognize this? Does it scare you a little bit? Great. It makes you human, guys. If you do not experience this, then there might be a different kind of issue. There might also be a different kind of solution for you, but let's say that you have. Let's say you do understand what I'm talking about. You've told yourself that you're not good enough. You told yourself you can't reach that goal. You can't achieve whatever it is that you have set for yourself as a target. A cognitive distortion, guys, is created by repetition. A very simple example, but the only reason why you know your name is because the people that educated you while you were growing up, they kept repeating to you that it was your name. Your mom and dad or others have repeatedly mentioned your name when they wanted your attention, when they wanted you to focus on them. Therefore, your brain, made a connection that understood that that certain sound was you. And then they started telling you your name is Stuart. Then, because of the repetition in that behavior, you created a connection, my name is, in my case, Stuart. If I would meet you today for the very first time, and I would introduce myself and say that my name is John, you believe my name is John. But the truth is that my name is Stuart. The same is with these examples in cognitive distortion. The only reason why you tell yourself you're not good enough is because you believe you're not good enough. So if you could challenge your thinking, if you could state the opposite, as a matter of fact, if you could prove the opposite, then we can get you into a different state of mind, therefore different behavior, and therefore different results. Imagine that every single time you hear you're not good enough, you're going to hear you're good enough, you can do this. How much would you have achieved already? How much more would you have ticked off your to-do list already? And how much more success would you already have created if there was a positive cheerleader in your head all the time? That's what we're going to talk about today, guys. That's what we're going to do right now.
Let's go! What you wanna do, baby? It's on you.
All right, let's talk about those cognitive distortions. The ones that sneak in and don't really get out of your head anymore. But this is going to change right now. The most common one, all or nothing thinking. Do you recognize this, that you tried a new habit? Let's say you wanted to start a certain exercise routine. You promised yourself, from now on, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm running. I'm going for a 20-minute run. The first week you're motivated. You kick yourself out of the bed, you tie your shoelaces, and off you go. Running 20 minutes, feeling good about yourself. And then in week number 2, you just miss one. Let's say, for this example, you missed the Wednesday. And then Friday comes. Nothing is happening. I'm not going to do this anymore. You see, I told you I can't do this. And there's the proof, the physical proof, to your cognitive distortion. And guess what happens? You give up. You recognize this? It's called all or nothing thinking. It's or I follow it exact, or I don't do it at all. But there's so much more in the middle. What if you just missed that one on Wednesday and you go, you know what, I'm going to shrug this one off. Let's just go again on Friday. Let's go for it. And you just try to keep going after one tiny little mistake. Sounds different, right? Number 2 of cognitive distortion is overgeneralization. Do you recognize this one? You start your day, something very small happens. Toothpaste on your shirt, a wet sock, maybe you spill some coffee on your trousers, and you go, this only happens to me. This is going to be a horrible day, or maybe even worse. The universe or God or Buddha or whoever is against me. You see, I don't deserve success. I don't deserve to do well. And this is proof of it. You recognize yourself in this situation? Do you recognize yourself over generalizing things? It doesn't matter if this happens to you guys, we can change this. Cognitive distortions is something we can overcome. It makes us human because we all have them from time to time. Some people have them stronger than others or more present than others, but we can change it. We can thin it out and start to understand how to challenge these situations. So how do these patterns affect your life? The most important thing to understand, and maybe you have to rewind a few times to listen to this and repeat it a few times to yourself. Every single time that you're trying to create a new pattern, that means you're going to go into the growth zone. You're learning and you're growing. That means if you're in one of those two stages, you're out of your comfort zone. And what happens is, in our cognitive patterns, we have created safety. We have created familiarities. That means we feel comfortable here. We know what's going to happen. We know how this makes us feel. We know what is going to be our life. Why would we move out of this? Your system is built in a way that in order for you to feel comfortable, you need to stay in that same position. So to go back to the running or the exercise regime example, if you start running on that Monday and maybe the Wednesday, you're motivated. That's just the one that gets you started. That's the one that kicks you out of the bed and makes sure that you keep going, but only a very short period of time. Willpower and discipline are needed for the next step, which means moving out of that comfort zone and staying there. Making sure that this uncomfortable feeling of feeling tired, feeling ill, not sleeping well, not eating enough, all these excuses that your thoughts are telling you not to go running to pull you back in your comfort zone, you have to push through in order for you to create a new pattern. So your cognitive patterns determine your actual results. If you believe that you're not good enough, if you believe that you are not capable of running 20 minutes, then why would your body go out? You have to convince yourself that you can. So every single time that you are trying to create a new result, a new pattern in your cognitive behavior, you need to understand it's going to be uncomfortable for you. So cognitive distortions can seriously affect how you feel, how you see the world, how you perceive your life. If you would focus on only the negatives, if you would focus on everything that you lack, that you don't have, if you compare yourself only with people that are doing much better than you are, you're going to feel quite miserable, right? If you could focus on the things that you have, if you could focus on the steps that you've made, the pile of proof you have of improvement, of bettered, healthier, happier making decisions that you have already implemented in your life, imagine how that would make you feel. Proud, energetic, maybe even a little bit happier than before. So in order for you to experience a certain feeling and a certain result, you need to start acting in a certain way. So your cognitive patterns are very, very important in order for you to create a better feeling and better results. The behavior that leads to those results comes from our thinking. So the awareness, the fact that you need to know what kind of thoughts you have is extremely important. Most of the time, they fly under the radar because we're not aware of them. And that has everything to do with the fact that our conscious mind and our subconscious mind are not working 50-50. Our conscious mind works 5 to 10% of the time. That means 90 to 95% of the time we operate on autopilot from our subconscious mind. Let me give you an example to explain what that exactly means. The very first time that you had to tie your shoelace, probably it was a drama. As a matter of fact, I don't even think you did it. But right now, if I would ask you to get up and tie your shoelace, you don't even think about right over left or how exactly do I do this. In a few seconds, your shoelace is tied, correct? The very first time that you did this and you had to repeat the process over and over again, that is a conscious and an aware action. You have to think about where does the lace move, how do I hold it in my fingers, How exactly do I make the movements? You're actively thinking about it. That is your conscious mind. If I would ask you right now to tie that shoelace without thinking, that is called subconscious behavior. It's just done. Maybe even a little bit of a scary one, but we all experienced this one. Remember the very first driving lesson you had for your car? How much thinking there was in how to move your hands, how to move the stick, which one was the indicator, which one cleaned the windows. How exactly did we get to the stage that we're probably in right now, not sure how old you are and how much experience you have, by driving from home to the gym or home to work. And sometimes you arrive and you think, how did I get here? You totally missed the drive there. You were thinking about things, you were distracted by the music, you were singing along with the radio, and out of nowhere you're at your destination. Do you recognize it? That autopilot, that is your subconscious mind, and it operates 90 to 95% of the time. That means 90 to 95% of the time we are not really in control, not actively, not with our conscious mind. That means 90 to 95% of our days goes into patterns that are installed in our brain, in our mind. So in order for you to understand the importance of how cognitive distortions can affect your life, now imagine that cheerleader again. Imagine that 90 to 95% of your day, there's somebody cheering you on. Somebody's telling you you can do this. Somebody's pushing you. That is where I want you to aim for. That is where I want to see you, and that's where I want you to act out of. A cheerleader that is with you the whole day. The good news is, if you can teach yourself that pattern, if you have taught yourself these negative ones, that means we can recreate positive ones. We can install positive patterns. It might not be as easy and as quick as we think it is or as we hope for, but I'm here to tell you we can. If you're really interested in more details of these kind of topics, go onto Google, guys. There are so many rabbit holes. Type in neuroplasticity, how the actual physical structure of our brain can change just by thinking differently. Go for cognitive patterns if you're on Google anyway. Another rabbit hole, it will keep you stuck for weeks. It is so interesting. That's why I'm here to make all these complex research papers a little bit more understandable for people like you and me. And what I love to do, check my social media, check all the download links, make it into actionable steps. I promise, I guarantee, if you do every single homework assignment that I push out through my content, your mindset is changing, your life is getting better, and you create that healthier, happier decision-making process. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. Let me explain to you how to change your patterns. What are strategies? How can we do certain things? Why is this effective? And especially, why would you do this? All right, let's kick these cognitive distortions to the curb, and let's start with cognitive restructuring. It sounds fancy, I know, but it's actually quite simple. Imagine that you have this negative thought, that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, you can't do this. Now do the following. Tell yourself it's not true. I mean, you fact check everything these days, right? We need to make sure that everything that we read, we double check. Do the same with your thinking. Do the same with what comes from your patterns. As soon as you hear that you're not good enough, as soon as you hear that there's something you can't do, state the opposite. Tell yourself, of course I can. I know, and then someone that you do know, and he or she is capable of doing this. Therefore I am. Maybe not yet, but I can develop the skill set and I'm willing to put in the work, the time, the energy, and the effort. Challenge your thoughts. Tell yourself that what you hear, and if it's not beneficial to you, it's not true. Make sure that you put things in a different perspective. If you restructure your cognition, you will feel completely different. If you can create the habit of restructuring your cognitive patterns, you will see completely different results because you're going to talk differently to yourself about yourself. Every single time you hear a negative thought, challenge it and ask yourself, is this really true? State the opposite, turn it into a positive, and make that your new truth. Strategy number 2 is mindfulness. I'm not going to ask you to sit on top of a mountain for hours with your eyes closed, cross-legged position with your hands open, unless you want to, of course, but I'm going to ask you to be mindful about your thoughts. Let's make this visual. Imagine you're sitting roadside of a very busy road and the cars are just zooming past. Are you trying to read every single license plate number? Are you trying to memorize every brand, every type, and every engine? Are you trying to remember all the details of the passengers or the drivers? No, you're not. You're sitting there, you're observing the cars. You might see some colors, you might see some sizes in the different kind of cars, but you're not going to soak in all the details, right? I want you to do the same with your thoughts sometimes. Make sure you build in a few times per day, just a few minutes, a more mindful moment. If the thoughts arise, and maybe it gets busy in your head when you do this in the beginning, but when the thoughts arise that are not beneficial to you, tell yourself, I'm not going to hold on to this. I'm just observing the thoughts that are coming in and I'm letting them pass by like the cars on the road. You don't have to hold on to them. You don't have to see them as truths. You just accept that they're there and you're letting go of them. Let the cars drive past without knowing the brand, without knowing the type, without knowing how many people are inside. If I hear my voice telling me that I am not good enough, I thank the voice for saying this and I let go of it because I know I am good enough. And then my number 1 favorite exercise to calm your patterns down. Act from a state of gratitude. Be thankful for what you have. Be thankful for the experiences that you have. I have my journal right here. I take it with me everywhere. It's not just my gratitude journal, to be honest, but I take it with me everywhere. And I write down the things that I'm thankful for. 3 times a day for at least 5 minutes, I make sure that I thank myself and everything around me for the experience that I have. So the things that make me smile, the things that make me happy, the things that make me feel warm maybe. Let me give an example. I am very thankful every single morning for the morning because I woke up again. I'm so happy and grateful that the sun is up again. I'm so thankful for the beautiful pool I have to swim in. I'm so thankful for that person that held the door open for me and waited for me for a little bit. I'm so thankful for my avocado smoothie in the morning. I'm so happy and thankful for the sun on my forearms when I drive my motorbike. I'm so happy and thankful for the gym that is always there that I can go to whenever I want. I'm so happy and thankful for all the technology that makes me create this content and allows me to study every single day. I'm so happy and thankful for my family, my friends. It doesn't matter what it is, but for 5 minutes, write down the things that make you smile, that make you feel loved, make you feel warm, the things that make your life just a little bit better. A lot of my friends write down, I'm so happy and grateful for the way my dog greets me every single time I come back home. I don't have a pet, so I can't relate, but I do understand why they write that down. Or that person that holds the door for you, that stranger that just put on a big smile when they looked at you. Be thankful for everything and write it down. If you create this habitual pattern, I do it physically because I like to write it down. It slows me down, it slows my thinking down, and I create a better connection. But many times when I'm driving the car or my motorbike, I do the same. I just start being thankful for the things that I have, for the experiences in the past, for what is coming in the future and what is happening right now. Be thankful, guys. It's going to help you create a better subconscious pattern, and therefore your cognitive distortions will calm down and align more with the successes that you're aiming for. So to sum it all up and to make it easy to understand, if you follow the patterns that you have right now, you're going to get the results that you have right now. If you start challenging your negative thoughts, if you show gratitude, if you do not hold on to every single thought, and if you replace every negative thought with a more positive thought, and you keep doing this until that becomes your new truth, your new reality, you are physically changing the structure of your brain. You are changing cognitive patterns. Therefore, you're going to behave different in life. And with different actions and behavior, you get different results. So remember that you're not stuck with the brain or the mind that you have right now. The settings of your mind can change, and you're in control where they change towards. Make sure you understand this. Make sure that you start this beautiful, beautiful journey for yourself where you are going to create a better cognitive pattern. It can be in any aspect, and it will trickle over in other aspects or areas of your life, but make sure that you start somewhere. Every single time you have a negative thought, challenge it, replace it with a positive one. Your mindset and your cognitive patterns work like muscles. The more you train them, the more load you put onto them, the stronger they get. Don't give up, stay at it like everything else in life. In the beginning it might be hard until it becomes more automatically. And that's what we're aiming for. Conscious mind starts the habit, the subconscious need to take over at a certain time that you don't even pay attention anymore, and you're still making healthier, happier decisions. If you enjoyed today's video, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you download the free homework. The links are going to be in the description. And of course, also the link to my social media and my podcast or my YouTube channel, depending on where you see this one. And make sure that you get connected. If there's anything, guys, just reach out. Send me a message, send me an email, go to my website. No matter where you will try to contact me, the message will find me. I will make sure that we get connected because I can't wait to hear your story. I can't wait to hear what is going on in your life. Where do you come from? Where is it that you want to go? And where are you right now? I would love to get connected, and I'm only asking one small thing in return. Take 5 or 10 seconds out of your day and please share this with at least one person. It will help me a lot by reaching a bigger audience, and hopefully it will also help them, because what I believe is that there's a lot of value in this kind of content. If we can create a healthier, happier decision-making community, then I'm already happy. That is one of my goals. My mission statement is I want to help 1 million people creating a happier, healthier decision-making. And those 1 million people are only counted through webinars, seminars, and one-on-one coaching. I recently started this journey. I am far away from 1 million, but one thing I know for sure, I'm going to reach this, and I hope that you're going to be one of the people that is going to be included in that 1 million. Guys, be amazing. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my podcast. Make sure you share it with at least one person, and stay focused on what it is that you want. Replace the negative thoughts, replace the distractions. Make sure you focus on what it is that you're aiming for. Go get it.